All right. Hello and welcome to Brilliant People Doing Brilliant Things. And today we have the lovely Lacy Knickers, and she has a wonderful company. She does Booklover's Burlesque, and I'm going to turn it over to you. Just please introduce yourself. Any extras?
Okay. Well, my name is Lacy Knickers, and I'm a producer, a burlesque artist, a drag artist, and a writer. And I do produce a show called Booklover's Burlesque under Lacy Productions. And I've produced many, many other types of shows as well. Shows that are kind of all over the gamut, but they still have a common theme. Some of the shows are based off of stories like Phantom of the Opera. So I've done Phantom Burlesque and wrote a different script with a different ending. So it's a story-driven type of burlesque show. I've done one called Tease as Old as Time. That's based off of the original Beauty and the Beast. And I've done a Burly Carol, which is based off of A Christmas Carol. And they all have their own storyline and makes them unique and surprising endings as well. So those are some other types of shows that I produce as well. And I'm a burlesque artist and I'm a drag artist and Nick Lacy. So I do all the things.
That is amazing. And so you have a show coming up this Saturday?
I do. I have a virtual full-length production called Booklover's Burlesque Once Upon a Tease. And it is based off of fairy tales, folk tales, myths, and legends. And Booklover's Burlesque started before the pandemic, many, many years ago, in person type show where we have a reader that reads a literary excerpt, and then it is matched with a burlesque artist or drag artist as well, or burlesque. And in the same kind of theme or tone, emotion, it varies, but they are matched together and go together at our shows. So there are different types of burlesque shows for sure, but I love books and I'm a writer, so it fits that niche for me and my burlesque love as well. So it's on Saturday, the virtual show. It's our second actual full-length virtual show, and it's at 7:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Crowdcast. We live stream on Crowdcast, and you can get tickets off of Eventbrite, or you can go to Lacy Knickers on Facebook or on Instagram, Lacy Knickers 123, and see the link for the Eventbrite for the tickets.
Yeah.
And then if you can't make the live stream, then you can have the link to watch the show, the replay, anytime you want for a week. So people in different time zones don't have to worry about that.
And can they still tip after the live performance? They can still tip their favorite performers. Yes.
Definitely. So we pool all the tips. So every time we have our reader and our artist, our performing artists go on the screen, you see it says for tips and readers to go to 3 different places: PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. But they all are mine, and then I take it and divide it up with everybody and send it to them. So I definitely can do it after, and we've done that before after the show.
And you are in a fantastic outfit. You have a lovely, I'm not exactly sure what era hat it is, but it's lovely and red, and a gorgeous red top or dress with a beautiful choker. Like, is this a character or can you?
No, this is just Lacy's outfit, although I wear different things, and I love vintage things. So this is a 1940s vintage hat. This is just a dress that's kind of vintage inspired. And these are special crystal necklaces from Prague in the Czech Republic that I got to perform at pre-pandemic at the Bohemian Burlesque Festival. So they're special to me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. So I like to dress pinup-y vintage sometimes. Then other times I kind of run the gamut of different styles. And if I'm feeling more Nick Lacy, more mask, I'll dress that way and just mix it all up. So, but there's always, it seems like, a little vintage flair because I love history. That's why my name Lacy Knickers, because of the knicker that you call your panties in Europe. And yeah, I would live in a house from 1907 as well. So just always love and old things.
Yeah. Oh, I love old houses. They're just the best.
Hmm.
That's amazing. Well, you look fantastic, and that's so cool. What drew you to burlesque in the first place?
So let's see. I took a class. It was almost a little shy of 8 years ago,
Mhm.
7.5 years ago. I took a class from the Rose City School of Burlesque in Portland, Oregon, because I saw it advertised, and I just was thinking that it'd be something I might want to write about someday, and something where I can really express my sexuality that had been repressed in my past. And so I wanted to go and explore those things. So I took the class, and then I never stopped. So
That's amazing.
yeah, and I thought it'd be something I'd write about it with a character or something, but no, I just became the character, I guess.
What
So
genre do you write?
well,
I
now
didn't
I'm
realize.
writing. I'm a playwright now,
Okay.
so I've written different plays and productions. But I started long ago. I have a master's degree in creative writing in 2004, and I tried to write children's books. So I would write picture books and middle grade novels, young adult
Mhm.
novels that I'd write, I'd win some awards, I'd get some good positive things, but they never actually
It
were
just
accepted to be.
never.
So, and I still have a very deep emotional bond with children's literature, and I was a teacher for 16 years.
Oh,
So I always will, but I've just moved on to different types of writing, and now I just love playwriting and writing for the stage a lot. So that's what I
you do
do.
it really well. I just loved it. It's so good. Awesome. So when and how did you start your company? What inspired
Two
that?
years 2 years after I took the class for the first time and started performing all the time and so forth, a friend of mine, I was still in a critique group, and
Mhm.
a friend of mine in my critique group, in my writers group, she had a book coming out that was going to be published, that it was an anthology. It was a young adult anthology of young adult writers' first times, stories about their first sexual experiences.
Oh.
And so she wanted to have a book launch that was one for adults and then
Mhm.
one for young adults. And so she said for her adult one, she thought, well, she was always very supportive of me doing burlesque. And
Mhm.
she said, could you produce a show for me where we take some of the writers who were local, um, who wanted to come and read their piece from the anthology, and then match it with a burlesque artist in emotion and style? And would you do that for my book launch? And I said, I'd love to. I've never produced a burlesque show before. I'd helped produce different types of stage things for a historical society in the past, and I've produced many talent shows for third graders. So I've never produced uh, a burlesque show, but I can find out how. I can, ask friends who I admire and see if they'll take me under their wing and teach me how to do it. And so I did, and then we did the show, and it was a big success. It was in April 2016, and not too long ago, but just enough
Mhm.
time. Um, and it was just a big success, and everybody loved it. And then people started saying, "Are you going to do another one? Are you going to do another one?" And so I just started doing them over and over. And then I started being inspired to write and do other types of shows and other productions, and then just kind of took off after that. And so right before the pandemic, I was
Mhm.
producing, not a book lovers necessarily, but a show about once a month, and then it all ended. So,
What's
well,
been the, what's been the biggest thing you've learned having to switch from before the pandemic doing live to doing, um, online stuff? And I'm sure there's stuff that you really love about online but miss about live and vice versa. So can you get into that a little?
sure. I learned that it's very, very hard to move from on the stage to virtual.
Mhm.
But there are definitely lots of things I love about it. I'm the type of person that once the pandemic hit and all of my shows were canceled and all of my performance gigs were canceled, I had to create or do something. That's my sort of self-care, or I go on a
Mhm.
downward spiral. So
Yeah.
I had to figure it out. And so I decided to do the Book Lovers Burlesque bedtime stories on
Mhm.
YouTube, which are just readers from all different sorts of burlesque artists, drag artists, writers, and actors and actresses from all over the world
Mhm.
who have either some of them we started where they'd read for me in the past at a show
Mhm.
or had never read, or I just have always dreamed of having them read for me. Um, and reaching out to them. So doing a reading, it could be a real sexy reading. It could be a beloved children's book, but you're, dressed like this. Let all the readers be creative with what they wanted to do, but it was something that we created all together for free for the public to come
Mhm.
and enjoy, pandemic, just to bring some light and inspiration and love to back to the community. So that
Mhm.
started the end of March. And so that was the first time I was going back on the virtual stage to create some readings. And then I got some gigs and just had to try like every single type of technology there was. So I performed on Zoom, performed in Skype, I performed on Twitch, I performed um, pre-recorded stuff. I did just like every single thing you could think on Instagram, on Facebook, on everywhere from all different people's shows and try to figure out what I liked the best out of those
Mhm.
shows before I then produced something of my own. And that was really helpful too. And that just kept me busy and kept me going.
And
Um,
like giving you outlets for all the stuff that's like
Giving me outlets. Yeah, definitely. So keeping busy with the curating the book lovers bedtime stories and then changing acts to create something that would be used virtually. That was interesting because we have a dining room. This is now our studio. Used
oh
to be our
wow.
dining room. And so behind the curtain is the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
So we invested in some lights. We had some lights. My partner and I had lights from other productions we've done, but then we had to invest in more lighting and learn about all those different things that are out there. And
Yeah.
and luckily, my partner has worked in television before, and so
Thank goodness.
he knew about proper lighting. He knew things that we needed, and so I was pretty lucky to have somebody that has been helping me all this time behind the scenes. And he's a magician too, so he's been in front of the camera also with his shows. So he had reasons to get going and figure all this out for himself too. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Are you ever gonna have a
this is
crossover with the both of you doing a show together?
we have been in shows together now. We just don't. We're not in each other's like
Yeah.
acts.
Mhm.
But yes, no, we help each other. And so if we were been in a couple of shows together, well, he'll perform first, and then I'll be behind the camera making sure everything looks okay, and then it's my turn to perform, and then he'll go behind the camera and make sure everything's okay. So yes, we've done that many times. And he's also been he's an MC, so he's a very good MC and has been an MC in my in-person shows before too.
That's cool. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What's the best thing about getting to create stuff with your partner or having two performers? Like what do you really dig about that? Because sorry, and go ahead.
Okay. What's the best thing? I think um, we just get along really well and make each other laugh and just, I think you can tell that on the stage. And so we just enjoy each other's company and being there together and then help each other get better. And so I trust his opinion on things. And so he'll give me advice and then he trusts me. So I'll give him advice. And that really helps too.
That's
So
awesome.
it's all good. Yeah.
How did you
Um,
guys end up meeting?
we met in college at a
Oh,
radio station.
oh wow, you have really done all the mediums.
Yeah.
That's
We
awesome.
have, yeah.
That's really cool.
definitely.
So I know that burlesque and performing is a way for you to refill your cup or like self-care, but is there things you need to refill your creative cup when you're dry or like just feeling, I don't know. We all have those periods. So how do you go about making sure you're
I
well-rounding or whatever?
Yeah, no, I think reading actually helps me a lot, reading different things that I, have interest in. I think watching other performers and watching other shows
Mhm.
inspires me too. Even before the pandemic, I love to go to shows, even if I wasn't in them. I'd love to support the community, and then I would be inspired by, things that I saw. So that helps a lot too. Um, Probably those are the two biggest things. I have just this list of things that I want to do before I'm dead.
Yeah.
So,
I feel that.
um, and yeah, and performance wise, production wise, writing wise, I'm never going to um, retire. I'll do other things, but I just have this. So I'll just pivot and go work on my play or go work on this if I'm not feeling like costuming or I'm not feeling like practicing or if there's no deadline or anything, then I'll
Right.
just, go or I'll veg in front of the TV and watch, a favorite show that I've watched a million times, like Moulin Rouge or something, like just to get, just to feel better. And yeah.
Nice. Ooh, who's the young man? Who's the little dog? I just saw one of your
Cat,
fur
oh
babies.
yes. So and a
Sorry.
cat came up a second ago too.
He did.
That's Violet, and Violet,
Aw.
and she's half lab, half border collie. So she has been in shows. She'll just make herself appear suddenly in shows. And our cat, we have two cats, but only one comes downstairs, and
Gotcha.
that's Orville, and he's a black cat, and he likes to be in the shows too.
He's a
So
performer at heart.
it is, yeah,
My dog is
it's
such a
funny.
little ham. I have the camera out and she's like, "Oh, I'll pose now."
Yes, that definitely is my cat too. So, and that's been fun. That's to to have the animals there and the audience always gets a kick out of it and stuff, and to be able to perform with people from all over the world and meet people from all over the world has been a total joy. Oh, my cat's right here. Um, and meeting all those people I never would have met before. And so hopefully I can meet them in the future in person. So
That'd be
that's been really
amazing.
nice too. So I've gotten to perform in Australia twice, virtually, and
Mm.
so that was interesting because it was 3 in the morning my time
Oh my
when I
God.
had to perform. And they're like 17 hours ahead or something, and so that's like I had actual jet lag without leaving the house. So the first time I did it, it was totally fun. They're so cool, and then like I was out of it for a week trying to get the time change. And then I did it again like a month later. I'm like, why am I doing this again? It's just because of, another week of jet lag, but it was worth it because it was really a cool experience. So things like that, they're just wild, and you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this, and to hear people introduce you in all these different accents
That
is
is
so
cool.
cool too.
Do you have a
So yeah,
favorite accent to be introduced by now? Like, if you could pick.
um, I, the Australian one was probably my favorite, but I mean, I love there's I've performed with in
Mhm.
France. Well, it's based in France. You're not really in France. You're not really in Paris. You're online, virtually,
Right.
like on Instagram. But then when she introduces me, like she's doing it in French, and then I hear my name, Lacy Knickers. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta go live on Instagram. So I'll go and then perform. And so that was really neat too to hear it. And I've performed in Paris once in person before many years ago. So
Oh,
to
that's
hear it there too, live and with your name was the only thing because everything else in French is fun. Oh, and in Italian, the same thing. That was a virtual Burly show
mhm.
festival, that's Amore Burlesque Festival. I got to hear my name after all the Italian.
Ooh,
So those
nice.
are I wish I could, I don't know, someday, like my partner said, we should, get the recordings and take out all of the intros and then make a little thing where you hear all the different types of intros through the pandemic to hear all the different ones. That would be fun.
That would be fun. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome. Did it bring back some memories when you were being introduced in French? Like, oh, now I feel 10 years younger for a minute.
no, because it wasn't that long ago.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no, it was only like 3.
Awesome,
So
though. I thought it was only been a
yeah,
period. So that's really cool.
um, yeah, and I think some in the very beginning, I've gotten used to it all now. But the
Mhm,
very beginning, my very first virtual show,
mhm,
after the book first bedtime stories, the first actual live show was on Zoom, and it was like the first week of April or something,
mhm.
and it was with my community in Portland, a producer who I've worked very, very closely with, who was my teacher mentor when I took classes.
Nice.
um, he started a show on Zoom
Mhm.
and invited me to be in it. And so when I actually did it, it was wonderful but heartbreaking. And then I cried for hours after, just because of all the emotion of everything like
Yeah,
disappearing on you, and changing, and you have nothing, you can't control anything. That was really hard, the
yeah.
very, very first. But now I've, gotten used to it. So now it's like, what is today? Oh, okay. Noon. I have to
Do
do
some
I'm in Ireland at noon on Instagram. So I gotta go do that.
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for, like, sharing that bit because I feel like, sometimes as, like, artists and performers, we're sharing, like, just how sad or I don't know, like, there's a mourning process with change, and I think that it's good to talk about it, and I appreciate you being sharing that because it's not something I think we could discuss it more. I don't know.
No,
So I
it's true.
appreciate
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. I think it, and I keep my, social media very positive, most of the time.
Yep. Mhm.
Um, I just think that's what I need to do as a performer for myself. And
Definitely.
so I don't really share what the bad days are, but I can tell you there's been a lot. So,
Right.
because I'm human, and it's true. And there's definitely been a mourning process. And then now coming up on like the last in-person show that I produced was March 6th. And then I'm
Oof.
now having the virtual show. It had been moved to March 6th. So
Yeah.
just that whole feeling has just been really hard to take, but trying to stay positive. Just keep swimming is my motto, just
It's a
like
great
Houdini.
motto, right? I saw that
Yeah,
movie and I'm like, "Yes, just keep swimming. Story of my life. I can do it."
yeah.
That's
So
really brave, though, to do a show on the last day that you got to live perform, like a year anniversary. Like, I just think that's really brave. I know that's probably gonna be somewhat difficult. So,
yeah,
like,
it
bravo.
just happened. Well, it was supposed to be before, but we had an ice storm here, where I
Right.
had no power for the 8 days, and
Oh,
everything
gee.
got just pushed back. There were performers from Portland here who needed a little extra time to create their acts for me for the show, and then I needed more time to finish mine, and just everything got delayed, and so we rescheduled the show to March 6th. And I actually didn't realize until just like a week or two ago that that was the date of my last in-person production. So
Mhm.
yeah.
So accidental. Oh, no.
Yeah, it'll be
But
fine.
I'm
It's
glad you're okay, though. I didn't realize you guys were without power for 8 days. Oh, Lord.
we were, yep. It was bad.
Yeah. Not the time of year not to have power.
No, I could not live. I like vintage things, but I've never been a person that like wanted to time travel back, or no. But we
I
survived.
get
It
it
was
till
fine.
my mom was like, "They don't have running water. You know you'd have to carry the water, right?" And I'm like, "What? Oh. Oh."
Yeah. Yeah. No, not for me.
Real quick, how did you discover Lance is your alter ego? Did I get the name right? Okay.
Oh, Nick Lacy.
Nick Lacy, I'm so sorry. How did you discover Nick Lacy? Like, what was that process? Or do you like I don't know if you ever read the Golden Compass series, but they have this like thing that comes out of you, like the I didn't know if it was like that for you or not.
Yeah. I read the first one, the
Okay.
Philip Pullman book,
Yes.
and no, it wasn't really like that. I think I mean now I identify gender fluid, so that is a way for me to express myself, and I like to explore that avenue.
That's awesome.
Um, but I think many years ago, I did a duet with a good friend of mine, and then it was the first time we had to I actually had to dress in drag for it,
Hmm.
and it was an 80s tribute, and it was a medley of Journey, REO Speedwagon, Foreigner, and Boston songs.
That's
and
awesome.
and I love that music for many weird reasons of my childhood. And so we dressed total like 80s hair band kind of thing, and I was just like, I love this so much, and being able to express myself on the stage in front of people that way, I want to keep doing this. And so it started then, and then it's now just gone off on its own thing. So yep, that's
That's
where it
really
came
cool.
from.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really appreciate like the atmosphere now because I felt I was going to college in the early aughts and like people were kind of okay with like gay, but bi was, and now like I just appreciate being able to be pansexual in this world now, and it's like an embracing. I
Yeah.
just love that that's there and there's space for the gender fluidity, which I think is huge, and I'm glad that that's opening up for all of us.
Yeah. No, 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 definitely. And I like to identify as bisexual and pansexual because bisexual was the word that I knew, when I was much younger.
Hmm.
And so it's just something that I'm very attached to. But I know after pansexual came out that is what I really am. So I've been attracted to a lot of types of people. So
Me too.
yeah.
My nephew told me about the term pansexual. I was like, oh, that's what I am. Oh.
Yeah, 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 it's true.
But
Um,
yeah, so I think that's really cool, and I just yeah, I don't know. I hope that's okay to acknowledge. Still learning.
oh, definitely. I'm a lifelong learner, so I get it.
Um, all right, one last thing. What like book are you into like right now? Because I know you said one of the things you like to do is like read or watch some of your favorite things. So can you give us a few recommendations for stuff we should get into?
Oh boy.
You don't
Well, I'm
have
reading
to.
research books. No, I don't know if anyone would want it, but I like it. I'm reading a lot of research for the play that I'm writing, and one of the books that I just finished and really loved was a history of a bookstore that's a famous English bookstore in Paris called Shakespeare and Company.
Yes.
And so the book I just finished was Shakespeare and Company, A Story of the Rag and Bone Shop of the Heart. And it just talks all about this this amazing special place that I have been to personally, that has been
You
a
into the
source.
original?
Well, the original as far as the second incarnation, because
Okay.
and I'm going to nerd out on you now. So the
Please.
first incarnation was created by Sylvia Beach,
Mhm.
who in the 19 she came to Paris in the teens, and then in the 1920s, I believe, opened the first Shakespeare and Company
Mhm.
English bookstore. She was an American expat, and
Interesting.
what I love about her is that she was queer writer and book lover, and there's just all of this history of expats as well as native French people who are queer writers, female
Mhm.
identified, as well as what I think we would call now gender fluid or even some trans, who
Mhm.
had a very big community in Paris in the 1920s, 30s, 40s that is buried. And so I've been reading a lot of books about those, right? Colette, I don't know if you've heard of that writer. She's another one.
Possibly.
Um, and so so Sylvia Beach started the very first Shakespearean company and then had to close it due to the Nazi occupation
Gotcha.
in the 40s. And then it was reopened again, a new one by somebody else in the 1950s. And then that's the one that is still there today. So,
and is it the same?
George Whitman started it. Huh?
Gotcha. Is it the same one that's been franchised in New York and also I think there's one in London? Not sure.
I don't know. I never heard that there was a franchise of it. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, it's the same one that was started by George Whitman in the 50s, and now it's owned by his daughter, whose name is Sylvia Whitman, who he named after Sylvia Beach, who started the first one. And so
oh my goodness.
It's a refuge for writers and book lovers, and so I just loved that book about the history of it, and it actually has always welcomed writers to spend the night as long as they have to donate 2 hours of their time in the store as well as read a book a day, and then they could stay the night if there's room. And so just I've never gotten to do that.
That's so cool. Yes.
It's right across from Notre Dame with the view. And
oh my gosh.
Very bohemian and just artsy, and I just love it.
So much scope for the imagination.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
That's my latest book.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I had seen it a while back and thought, oh, I want to read about that. And then, it just adds to your pile. And the next, I hear our infinity reading pile is people reaching towards infinity, which I think is kind of cool. Right?
That is very sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down because I have a lot of piles.
Me too. Well, I look forward to seeing your thing on Saturday, and I really appreciate coming on. You are amazing, and it was wonderful to talk with you. Thank you so
much for having me.
All right, take care, and if you guys would retweet or re-Instagram or any of that, I will enter you into a contest for a ticket to her show on Saturday. Please don't forget to @ me so that you will be on my list. All right, I will send you an email. Bye.
Bye.